Hello my lovelies and welcome back to Allotment of the Dead. So today's video I'm going to be talking about sweet corn, or a little bit about sweet corn anyway. I'm starting them really early this year. I don't normally start sweet corn until kind of mid-April, end of April, maybe even early May. Reason being is because once you get them started they grow really quickly, almost like a bamboo. They're kind of growing that quick that sometimes they can actually take over an area that you've kind of put aside for sowing seeds and things like that. But after my little experiment yesterday with the paraffin heater, the propane heater, I'm a little bit more confident that I can find a space in the polytunnel for the young seedlings to actually be able to survive. So they are quite heat dependent, so they don't like frost at all. Your chances of frost killing these is quite high, hence why you wouldn't want to put them straight out. But if you can get a crop of sweet corn of your own, then you will have a taste like you would not believe. Now, I don't normally like sweet corn when it's off the cob. When it's on the cob, it's absolutely unbelievable. With a little bit of butter, that flavour comes out, that sweetness comes out of the kernels, and you just cannot beat it. So this year I'm going to be mostly growing a variety called F1 Early Bird. So this is a relatively early variety, quick growing, and it gives you quite a good number of cobs per plant. I'm not going to say it's rat resistant because none of these cobs unfortunately will be rat resistant. You're going to have a certain amount lost unfortunately to rodents. Trying to protect the actual sweet corn crop is quite difficult, especially on an allotment. So the plan is to grow 3 different varieties of sweet corn. Now I'm trying to figure out exactly where I can actually grow these. The thing about growing corn is that, again, being wind pollinated, if you grow sweet corn too close together, then the pollen from one sweet corn can actually pollinate the adjacent sweet corn you've got next door. And if there is a different variety, your end result will not always be what you're expecting. So the plan is for me to hopefully, I don't know whether I'm going to try all 3 of these. I've probably got space for 2. Some down here and some up at the plot near my wife's. One of them is this, as like I say, Early Bird. It's a variety that is purely for eating sweet corn, and I've got 2 varieties here, and I'm going to take I guess choose which one of these I want to grow out of the other 2, because again I don't want to grow too many varieties close to each other, because again you get that issue with the cross pollination. But I've got glass corn, which is absolutely gorgeous corn to actually grow, and I've got this Dakota black corn. Both of these types of corn can be used for popcorn, and we've had some quite good popcorn off these. You've just got to let the kernels dry out, and then you would pop them, same as any other corn that you would buy from your shops. But you do get that little hint of colour in the kernels once the corn has popped. So you kind of got little flakes of green and yellow and orange and all those sort of colours that are in this. I mean, there's some blues and things in here as well. So that's the plan, and we're going to try and do that. So the thing you need to think about as well when you're sowing sweet corn is where you're going to put them, because whilst they do need that wind, you don't want to have it too exposed, because if you get a really strong gale or something like that, it's going to blow these things over, and your chances of actually sticking sticks in for these and protecting them in that way is very slim. You're not going to be able to do it. They should be freestanding, they should be free supporting, and hopefully if you have a decent enough plant it will do that. But again, that little bit of protection from that crosswind, even though you want it to be a little bit windy around them, otherwise you're not going to get any corn, is going to help them stand up. The other thing you've got to think about, because they're wind pollinated, is you can't plant them in a single line. So if you were to put these in a single line, the only chances of getting pollination would be as if a wind was perfectly going in this direction along the line. So what we wanted to do is plant them in squares or big rectangles. So you want like a 3x4, 5x5, 6x6, however many you've planted, that's how many in terms of a square or a rectangle you need to make. Because again, that will hopefully increase your ability to get a yield from these sweet corn. So I'm going to use these root trainer container-wise modules. The thing about sweet corn again is that they grow roots quite long down. If you've got root trainers, they're an ideal thing to use for these, but these are absolutely fantastic for sweet corn. I've used these probably for the last 5 years now with sweet corn, and they've done all right. And again, I started them again a little bit early this year, but whenever you start them, those roots are going to be coming out the bottom before you're going to get these in the ground. So you're going to have to protect these a little bit from the frost until you get a chance to put them out. Right, so use your reputable compost. This again, it's just a bit of Jack's Magic. Sometimes I would use the Leventon F1 for these, but I don't plan on moving them from these before I plant them outside. I'm not going to pot them on. I'm going to leave them in these. So hopefully we should have plenty of roots on the bottom. I can continue feeding them from the bottom as well if I need to, seaweed feed, that sort of thing. But I don't want to kind of move them around too much. So bit of Jack's Magic, hole in the top. You can use your finger to put a hole in the top, and then you want your sweet corn, and you only want one kernel per hole. Just drop it in. One of the easiest seeds to sow because it's a massive seed. You haven't got to mess around with tiny little seeds and trying to prick them out afterwards when they're tiny little seedlings as well. These will grow quite quickly into quite big plants very, very quickly. So you're not going to be surprised when you see something coming up. There's going to be no ambiguity in terms of this plant that comes up as well. They are pretty easy to recognize. They just look like a big grass to start with, because that's in effect what they are. They're like big grasses. If you were to see how these grow and how grass grows and sets seed, you'd see something quite similar. They're quite similar to things like bulrushes and stuff like that in the way that they grow. So we've got 4, 8, so that's 8x5. So we've potentially got 40 plants just in that one module there. So what we'll do, top them up again with a bit of soil on the top, fills in the hole above, nothing too strenuous. And then what we're going to do is give them a bit of a water. Water's due to be turned on any time now. We've got a bit of a leak on the plot, so we've got to fix that before we turn the water on. That's the nature of allotment sites, unfortunately. Sometimes you have an issue with leaks and things. I've got an issue with actually nothing coming out of the holes on this, I think. So we'll give that another go. I might need to just get it out and put the watering can on it outside, and we'll give that a go. So I'll carry on. I think I'll probably water the rest of that with the watering can, make it a little bit easier. For some reason that's not behaving very well. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm going to plant the glass corn, and then that'll be my sweet corn for this year, and hopefully we'll get a really decent crop. Again, it's just a case of trying to keep it away from the birds, the rats, the mice, squirrels, and the bats. Now the bats won't take sweet corn, so at least that's something. They've been flying around of an evening, absolutely gorgeous creatures. We've seen them most nights now. It's quite early. Again, that kind of weird weather we're having, this kind of warmth in the early evening seems to have got them to come out quite early. So it's always nice to see. I'm going to try and get some footage of them, but they fly really, really quick, and I'm not sure my camera's up to it, but we'll give it a go. Right, so sweet corn, job's a good one. Another plant, another seed that I've sown for the new season. This probably makes about 30 varieties of things I've planted already. variety of herbs and squashes, courgettes, pumpkins. I've sowed quite a bit already. I've still got lettuces to do. I've still got rocket and those sort of things to plant as well. So we'll do those again probably over the next few days, and we'll see how it goes. Right, we'll see you on the next video. So all the best, guys. Take care. Bye bye.